Hey, what's up, guys? Keenan from Comic Blast, letting you guys know that we have a very special episode for you ahead. This is Cole's first episode since joining the Comic Blast podcast, and things get pretty intense and interesting. On this episode, we try to come up with a consensus top 5 for Comic Blast of the Star Wars characters. So we try to rank the top 5 characters in all of Star Wars. And there's some negotiating that happens, a little bit of debate that happens later on in the show, and things get pretty heated. Before all of that, I do need to let you know that we did run into a few technical difficulties on this episode. So you'll notice that there are a few issues in recording, but nothing major. We're just trying to get used to recording with all three of us. Also, in this episode, you're going to hear me refer to Rey as the daughter of Palpatine. I know that she's not the daughter of Palpatine. She's a granddaughter. You don't have to tell me. Things just get pretty heated and intense, and the facts kind of go out the window near the end of the episode. Other than that, you guys enjoy the episode. Roll the intro.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out? Consider this mercy. I am inevitable.
Welcome back to the Comic Blast podcast. This is a special episode. I feel like the beginning of an era, if we want to put it that way. There's three.
That's a good way to put it.
There's 3 people here today. So we have Trice the Pride, Trice the Fall.
Yep.
Is Trice a word?
Yeah, that's it.
It's thrice, but I just was really stupid and decided to say Trice.
Okay.
It was a Count Dooku reference.
Thrice. I'm pretty sure that's a band.
That could be. Anyway, what's up? I'm Grayson. You know me. This is also Keenan. You know him. Say hey, Keenan.
Yes. Hey.
Oh, I thought
That's
you were
all
going
I'm
to say
saying.
hey, Keenan, like as like the dad joke thing.
No, I'm not that
Okay,
cheesy.
cool.
I can be.
But introducing someone who most people, or some people, are probably already familiar with his guest appearances, but this is his first official appearance as the new member of the crew, Mr. Cole Black.
Hello. I am very excited to be here, and I can't wait for all the stuff that we're going to do from now on.
Yeah, we are very glad that he is here, and it just felt right. We've already talked about that before. In 2 episodes ago, it was a bit of a delay because we had to get his mic to him, and yeah.
Yes.
So
Shout out to the patrons.
yes, I was about to say.
Oh yeah,
The patrons were
very, very
able
much.
to fund this purchase, which was definitely a worthy purchase, and will help us to create content with all 3 of us now. And this is honestly, like, I'm really excited because we're doing also a different thing where normally Keenan and I actually use FaceTime audio on our phones to just like listen to stuff, but we don't really see each other's faces. But for anybody who may not know, I'm actually doing a second podcast called Rising Action. Shameless plug. You can find that anywhere else too, but that's more about storytelling and stuff. I do that with my buddy Josh. And the way we do that podcast, we actually Zoom call each other, and then we just use our audio software at the same time. So I was like talking with a mutual friend of Cole and ours, Cole and mine, grammar, last night, and he was recommending...
It's ours.
Yes, ours.
Just kidding.
I don't know. Yours, mine, and ours.
Grayson's friend and my friend.
But yeah, he was like, "Why don't you use Discord?" And then I was like, "Oh, that's a good idea. That's a smart idea." So now we can all see each other's faces. And it's actually it's pretty fun.
Are you going for like a southern Joker impression right there?
What?
So it just sounded like a southern Heath
I don't
Ledger's
even
Joker.
know how to do that. Cole,
Let's
give it your
put a
best shot.
smile
sound
on that face.
This is Michael Schrader
My
as
father
Darth Vader. Cole will get
Oh,
that
yeah,
reference. Oh God, we gotta. Oh God, we have to
Hey
explain
guys,
that.
this is Michael Schrader as Darth Vader.
That's a whole.
You have to pitch that to him.
That's a whole different thing. We were playing Battlefront 2, and we were just talking about what if my dad was Darth Vader. Don't know why.
What if my dad was Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker?
So yeah, this is definitely going to be a Star Wars centric episode because we are now recording this on May 6th. So May the 4th and Revenge of the Sith have now passed.
It's Revenge of the Fifth Sith. The fourth one was fine, but the fifth one is really pissed off.
He's like, I've had it. So yeah, this is going to be an episode where first of all, we are going to give our personal favorite Star Wars characters. I don't remember if we're doing top 10 or top 5 for that. We'll probably just keep that to top 5 for personal.
5.
And then we are going to do Comic Blast's top 5 official ranking of Star Wars characters. Like, unbiasedly, what are the best Star Wars characters? And I didn't really put any limitations, but in my mind, I was like, okay, I think they need to have some sort of visual appearance, and that probably counts as a show, a game, a movie. If they're strictly in comics and that's it, then I'm kind of like, it's just like I'd hate for just some character like that to outrank, a character that's much more iconic, right?
Sure.
So I definitely, and I think we all kind of put those parameters in our head. I'm like, when I'm making my list, I was like, I don't want to totally outweigh or put one character that's like only had one appearance and put them higher, unless it was my personal list.
To quote The Dark Knight, this list is unbiased, unprejudiced, fair. So
fantastic.
So it should be all set.
That's fantastic. God, why do I keep on saying that? It's gonna become a running joke.
It's because it is fantastic.
It's a trend.
It's truly fantastic.
The Fan-4-Stick Dark Knight. What a crossover.
What?
I don't know.
Two polar opposites on the comic book movie spectrum.
Really. But before we get into our lists, we have our housekeeping to do. So once again, welcome, Cole. You can find, first of all, you can find Comic Blast as a whole on social media at Comic Blast _ on pretty much everything, Twitter and Instagram. I actually never mentioned this. Do we have a Facebook? Okay,
No.
Cool. Facebook sucks anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, Facebook fans, but it's not really
If
a
you
thing
if you like
all that
Facebook and
much
you
for
love
those
us, we
moments.
love you. But I also think you're slightly old, and maybe you need to
I
get.
haven't had a Facebook page in like 4 years.
Yeah, I deleted mine as well. I don't associate with Facebook. So yeah, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter. I'm going to make this quick like I did the past couple weeks. You can find our personal social medias in the description of those. I am at Shradester8 on both Twitter and Instagram. You can find Keenan at Keenan Creates on both Twitter and Instagram. Cole, you can find 2 separate handles. It is at the Cosmic Lotus on Twitter, and you can find him at And the Force is With Me on Instagram.
My man.
Yep.
Can't believe I was able to con that username as well.
Yeah.
Because I think when
Yeah,
I
I'm
made
jealous.
that Rogue One, it just came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, now this is it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be this.
I convinced you to get it because I was like, I need to show you all this cool Star Wars art. It's so annoying for me to have to like screenshot it and then send it to you. And you're like, fine. And you made it And the Force is With Me. And then it just stuck. So yeah, pretty sweet.
Now my Instagram is beautiful.
Yeah. And then obviously,
Go check it out.
and then obviously our patrons on Patreon, which is Comic Blast. Yeah, patreon.com/Comic Blast. And we have a couple patrons on there. One big sponsor is Jess. I always mention her Twitch channel every week. That is twitch.tv/female and fatal. We have been co-supporting one another, and she is at the sponsor level, so we mention her every week because she's awesome. And then we also have Joseph and Sam, who are also our other patrons. And once again, thank you to all 3 of them for being able to fund the equipment for Cole. And yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys for that. My deepest gratitude. I have not been able to afford a mic in quite some time, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
Pumped.
Yeah. So is there anything else I've failed to mention?
I'll just say to everybody that's listening, this like the 3-person thing is something that's new to us, so there's probably going to be hiccups. Maybe it's in editing or with connection or
Right.
something like that. There may be like small things that we need to like fine tune. We're all getting used to like recording together and stuff. So just keep in mind over the next, 1, 2, 3 episodes, we're going to be kind of like experimenting and trying to find better ways to make sure that the production sounds as good as it has been.
Yeah.
So,
Hopefully this will sound pretty seamless after the fact, but
we don't know
yeah,
yet.
we really don't.
Yeah,
I hope this doesn't just totally like isn't usable or anything, but it should be able to.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I really want to be.
We're hopeful.
I really want to continue to be a part of this podcast, so let's hope that it doesn't just blow up our computers.
Yeah. I started recording earlier, and I was like, and my computer exploded.
Putting the blast in Comic Blast.
Yeah. So
That might be the first time we've like had a good like play on words with the title.
yeah, I think every
Because usually it's something cheesy like we had a blast.
comic blast. Down, bow, bow, bow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't worry. I can cover most of that. I got you guys with the jokes.
Yeah. Cole's the comedian.
We're
Don't forget.
This is why we brought you
Yeah,
here.
don't ever forget Terrence Howard coming back as Rhodey as Taskmaster.
Yeah, that was
happening.
actually my audition. If I didn't make that joke, they said that I wouldn't be able to make it in.
Yeah.
They said that the rest of my performance was absolutely.
I'll say after that joke, I was like, yes. I'm like, this needs to happen.
We found him.
So
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got it.
Before we get into the actual meat of the episode, I will say Clone Wars Season 7 finished, and we are going to get to reviewing that, but this has been a episode that I really wanted to do, especially with all three of us here, and so we will probably next week get into a little bit of the Season 7 review. We just want to dedicate more time to that and not cut it short, so... yeah, this will be, and there's also some other Star Wars news as well, but we'll probably, cover that in a future episode. This is purely ranking the Star Wars characters. So let's start off with our personal lists. Cole, why don't you go first?
Oh boy, you mean my personal top 5?
Yes, give us your personal top 5 from 5 to number 1. And you can give a little bit of explanation to why, but try not to like completely keep us here for like 30 minutes.
No, I got you. Yeah, that's one of my fatal flaws. If you get me talking about Star Wars, I will not shut up. So if I feel like I'm going too much, feel free to stop me.
Yeah.
So my top 5, it was a little difficult to put together. This kind of stuff, including the movie rankings, changes around all the time. Because I can never 100% decide indefinitely. So my number 5 is coincidentally Clone Trooper 5's.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Grayson knows that 5's is my favorite Clone Trooper.
He is?
And I just yeah, he is.
Oh, I don't know. You've gone through different clone phases. You were like, oh, Gree's my favorite. I was like, okay.
Okay, Gree looks really cool, but he's not all that complex. He's like, I'm gonna kill Yoda, and then he dies.
That's very true.
So yeah, Fives is in my top 5 list because I always particularly enjoyed his just his overall character in the Clone Wars series. Spoilers for those who haven't watched it. If you haven't, what are you doing? Go watch it, please.
Yeah.
But his arc in the Battle of Umbara arc was great. How he went against Pong Krell to do what was right for his brothers and things like that. And even in the face of execution, he still held his ground, which was amazing. And then the way that he went out, which was attempting to unveil the secret of Order 66, which is one of my personal favorite arcs because I really enjoy that. Fives going through this whole ordeal to uncover what happened with Toph and like to see what this grand plan is to execute the Jedi and whatnot. And he gets so close, but he's shot by Commander Fox, who is the worst. But thanks to Fives, Rex had a few doubts, but he did record that thing for spoilers for Season 7 for Ahsoka about the inhibitor chips, which led to both Rex's and Ahsoka's survival. So thank you for that. Might even have helped out Maul, but Maul went crazy in that. Anyway, Number 4 is Ahsoka Tano. Because Ahsoka is just an amazing character, alright? When I was a kid and I first saw the Clone Wars movie, like many Star Wars fans, we were all just kind of like, nah, Ahsoka's annoying, like stuff like that. Like she's just this kid, I want to see more Anakin and Obi-Wan. But as the series went on, she became so much more complex and just an excellent character to follow through. I feel like a lot of the Clone Wars is based around her perspective and her eyes, which is why I think it makes so much sense for the last season to end with her perspective, really.
Yep.
And just everything that she goes through in the wrong Jedi arc is just great.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite arcs as well.
Agreed.
And she just develops so well as a character, and you're seeing her in a lot more Star Wars media now, which is making me really excited, especially for her rumored appearance to be in the Mandalorian season 2. So we'll see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is Luke Skywalker.
Classic.
I haven't really dictated all that much about why I like Luke a lot. But I feel like I can kind of relate to him in a way.
Yeah.
My friends, including you, Grayson, have told me that I am like similar to Luke.
I agree.
Like just in the way of his, his methods and his passion. Like he's a good person, but he can also be extremely passionate. Like the way that he works, he's not like that solid Jedi Order guy.
Yeah.
He's
choking
and a lot of
left
people.
and right.
Yeah. A lot of people, including myself, disagreed with the way that his story went in The Last Jedi. But now I've come to completely appreciate it. Because just the way that it went was so unexpected. And I just really like the way that was done, because we all thought that he was going to be this completely amazing and like battle-hardened Jedi, when in reality he became a hermit and like extremely depressed because he failed,
Yeah.
And I feel like I can relate a lot to that, because he just kind of backed off from everything. And I really like the way that he goes out in The Last Jedi. That's one of my favorite Star Wars scenes and shots, like all together.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely beautiful. Luke is amazing. Number 2, to no surprise, is...
I already know his top 2. I already know it.
He is beauty, he is grace, he is General Grievous. No, let's lay this down real quick. General Grievous is not complex at all.
Yeah, that's very true.
General Grievous is just like, I am an ass. Like, I am not a nice guy. I kill Jedi, I take their stuff, and that's me. There is a really cool... Yeah, exactly. There is a really cool Age of Republic comic that kind of delves in a little bit more to his psyche and like his relationship, or more so lack thereof, with the Force, which is cool. But currently in canon, we don't know all that much about him, which I want to see them delve into. He should have been in season 7. I only got one shot of him, but whatever.
He looked gorgeous.
Yeah, he did. It's a wasted asset.
The way, like, you guys can't see it on the podcast, but his eyes are lighting up when he's discussing Grievous.
Yeah, I'm in the dark too, so my eyes are just kind of like laser beams right now. But yeah, I don't know what it is, but something about just this villain that is just evil for the sake of it. Yeah. Like he's not nice, and I wish that I could use different words right now. Yeah. But yeah, he is. Oh, he's beautiful. I love him. Yeah. I'm looking at my Grievous pop right now. And then number 1, unequivocally, Obi-Wan Kenobi. It is no contest for me. My personal favorite character is Obi-Wan Kenobi, because I mean, where do we even start? Yeah. Let's try not to make
keep it a little short, because I'm sure we'll get into it on the unbiased list.
Okay,
no doubt about it.
I love his character. He is the first Jedi that we are ever introduced to in the world of Star Wars from A New Hope. You see him, and then suddenly, like, he just takes Luke on this adventure, and it's amazing. And the way that his arc goes, trying to be a good teacher for Anakin, but also trying to follow the rules of the Jedi Order. It's a very relatable ordeal with dealing with semantics and what is right. And I just think he's just such a good character, and he's lost so much, but he managed to pull through in the end, still as a good person and a warrior, and a teacher.
Unequivocally,
so that is my personal top 5.
He is unequivocally the best of the Jedi, I would say. But we'll get into that in the unbiased list, because I'm sure that's probably in most of ours. But great top 5 personal.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I appreciated that list a lot.
Thank you.
Very creative.
Yeah. All right, Keenan, you go next. I want to go last because I'm the coolest.
Okay.
I'm just
so mine's yeah. I kind of figured, so I was already prepping myself to be next.
Sweet.
So mine's probably not as out there as Cole's is, but I appreciate his a lot. But my list is just kind of like more tailored to like what I gravitated to when I was first introduced to Star Wars.
Hey man,
what I grew up on.
That's what's awesome about it.
I think it's a little bit different for me because like you guys are,
Star Wars
what, 7 years younger than I am.
Yeah.
So you guys kind of grew up on Clone Wars at a younger age than I did.
Right.
Where I had like mostly the prequels and the original trilogy were like my thing. Anyways, number 5, I have Leia. And yeah, I mean, it's just that was kind of like the female hero or heroine that I looked up to as a kid. So that was just kind of like the standard for me growing up in terms of like a female lead and character. Number 4, I'm probably the only person that has this on their list, but is Rey. And I think I've mentioned it in like previous podcasts, but like Rey's story is a little bit more personal to me, just about her journey of self-discovery, accepting where she's from, things like that are a little bit personal to like me in my life, and it's just kind of why I've appreciated her as a character. Number 3, Cole spoke on him and the importance of this character, but Obi-Wan.
Perfect.
And I think Grayson kind of like put it perfectly. He's kind of like the best of the Jedi.
Right.
And then number 2 is Anakin / Darth Vader.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. We had a debate before you get into that. We had a debate on whether both Kylo / Ben Solo and Anakin and Darth Vader were like counted as the same character. We are counting them as the same character because they are the same body. They are the same person, even if they not killed themselves, but like, killed their past.
I destroyed
him. Like, he's like, your son was weak and foolish and all this stuff, or like, all of that.
Your
like,
son is gone.
That's something we had to establish for this whole list.
Like, I don't care what you say. They're the same. They are the same character because they do, overcome those challenges.
It's morely about the overall like journey of that individual.
Yeah, it's like considerably it's all the same character arc, like from Anakin to Vader and then back again. It makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, so like you guys kind of grew up on the prequels too. I really like grew up on it, because I remember seeing The Phantom Menace when I was like 7.
Yeah.
And I've kind of like grew up with those films a little bit more than the original trilogy, because I got to experience those like as they were coming out at a very young age for the most part. So Anakin's definitely up there for me. And number 1, my favorite character since I was just a young child is Luke Skywalker. He was the character I wanted to be growing up. He was the character that I always, imagined I was when I was playing. So yeah. And just to touch like quickly on The Last Jedi, like Cole, I really did not like Luke's portrayal of The Last Jedi originally. I'd say within the past 3 months or so, I've appreciated it a little bit more. I still wish that we could have seen a better transition instead of just such a hard turn from the character that we last saw to where he ended up in The Last Jedi. I would have liked to see like an easier transition.
Yeah.
That way it would have felt a little bit more earned. That's why like I've pitched in a previous podcast how I would have loved to see just a story of Luke and Ben. As episode 7 or something like that, but I probably would have like went over better for me if I saw what led up to the Luke and the Last Jedi. But overall, he's still my number 1 character. So
solid list.
That's my list.
Luke is Luke in the original trilogy, and at the end of the Last Jedi is that staple hero. Like growing up, that's basically the definition of a hero.
Luke Skywalker is a legend. Even I mean, they say it, in the thing. It's just like I thought he was a myth. We'll definitely probably get into that in the unbiased list as well, the official list.
I figured.
So before I get into mine, did you guys have any honorable mentions for your top 5, like a 6 that you really wanted to put in your top 5 but couldn't quite make it? Because I actually did a top 10, but I'm only doing the top 5. But I do have an honorable mention that I really want to.
I want to just give some love really quickly to Qui-Gon.
Yes, yes.
He only appeared once in the Phantom Menace, but I mean, I loved his ideals. And,
I totally agree.
The fact that he was like,
I feel like he's such an underrated character in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
So
I think he was kind of a radical Jedi, not in the
goes.
sense that he's like a terrorist or anything. Like that's not what I mean. I mean by radical, I mean like his ideas were a bit more challenging to the Jedi Order, but still true
they were
to
kind of progressive.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. If the Jedi Order had listened to Qui-Gon, they would have gone in a much better direction.
I don't think they would have been involved in the Clone Wars. I think I actually think Qui-Gon is a bit more like he's not as much of a rule follower, which I think is where like you can kind of see like maybe it kind of echoes in Anakin a little bit as well. But like Qui-Gon doesn't like. I mean, the Jedi Council doesn't really like Qui-Gon, but that's because like he is a bit more like. He follows the more spiritual side of the Force, and he's even kind of closer to this gray Jedi. Even like I think Ahsoka is the closest thing to like what Qui-Gon is kind of like.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't read Master and Apprentice, I would definitely recommend it. It's by Claudia Gray. It's very, very good. And Qui-Gon and his portrayal in that book is just so good because it's his relationship between him and the council is just extremely contentious because his ideals and everything that he speaks about is just so kind of detrimental to the way that the Order is going.
Yeah.
But it's much better than what they have. And he even got he was even asked to go on the council, but he declined the offer.
Yeah. Which is such a Qui-Gon move.
My man Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
That'll be my honorable mention, actually.
That's good. I'm glad we mentioned him because Qui-Gon really is a great character.
I figured no one would have him on his list.
Yeah,
so it's just
there's just so many
up.
characters in Star Wars, right? That it's like it's hard to get everything. And Qui-Gon honestly didn't even cross my mind, and I'm glad you did mention him. But let's get into my my top 5 of my personal. So, but I'll mention my honorable mention, and that is the Mandalorian. He is obviously a very fresh character, very new character, but he's slowly becoming one of my favorite characters because I just enjoy watching the Mando do his thing, and he's kind of the man with no name from those Clint Eastwood movies, but he's also like he's a good person, right? And it's like, oh, you expect this Mandalorian to be Cole just dipped out of the thing. We'll get him back here in just a second. There he is. He's back. It's fine. It's like we said, technical
Sorry about
difficulties.
that. My Discord just shut down, but my audio clip is still going, so we're all set.
Yeah, you're good. We mentioned it in the thing. We're still going.
Okay.
So, the Mandalorian, new character, but, like, I love the way he acts even when you, like, can't see his face. You know what's going on behind that mask, and I think that's obviously due to the portrayal of Pedro Pascal. He does a great job. And he's just like this awesome, like he's just a really cool hero without being this Jedi or whatever. Like he's got his guns and his gadgets. He's kind of like Batman, like he's literally Star Wars Batman. But
Din Djarin is just so much fun to follow.
Yeah, and I cannot wait to see how his character progresses and how we even see maybe some of his past, as we got only some minor flashbacks. But let's get into my top 5. So number 5 is Princess Leia Organa, or should I say General Leia. I think Keenan said a little bit about this, but she was the female hero that like I loved as a kid, and I never realized that I loved her so much as a kid. Like I mean, I was always like, I think as guys we like to gravitate towards other guys that are our favorite characters.
Manly characters.
Yeah. But like the older I got, the more I was like, wow, like I actually love Leia as a character, and the sequel trilogy absolutely cemented that. I think the icing on the cake was seeing Leia as a Jedi, knowing that she trained as a Jedi and decided to leave it behind so that she could raise a family and take charge in the Senate and, rebuild the Republic, the New Republic. I think that's just such a Leia thing to do. Like, she's such a natural leader, but I was like, seeing her fight Luke and just kind of like, literally just destroy, like, not destroy him, but just like, completely overwhelm him in a fight. I'm like, yeah, of course Leia would. Like, she's a fighter. Like, I think they even said, like, they mention it and heavily allude to it that Leia would have been the preferable one to train over Luke.
Yeah,
as a Jedi.
It's in the book From a Certain Point of View.
Yeah.
Yoda like tells Obi-Wan that he had wished that they had trained Leia instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they just saw more potential in her, which is a real Jedi thing to say.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like in terms of like the Republic Order. But yeah, what I was going to say was that out of the original crew of the original trilogy, like I like to call them the Millennium Falcon crew, but I've never told you that.
Yeah.
Out of the original Millennium Falcon crew, out of all of them, Leia just has such a presence when she enters the room.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a powerful presence compared to the others, and I don't know why.
That's
but,
a
like,
great way to describe
she owns
it.
the room. She owns the room. Each and every one that she's in.
Yeah, I honestly think that Leia is the leader of the original trilogy group, which is just such a. It just really paves the way for like the female heroines in Star Wars and just how many great ones there are. So Leia, number 5, number 4, Vader / Anakin. That's Star Wars, at least the prequels and original trilogy. It is the story of Anakin Skywalker, seeing this incredible hero and then his fall and his rise back to the light. It's just, he is the center of that. And even if it continues in the sequel trilogy and it's not really about him, he's still like just the focal character. And I love Vader as a villain. He's my favorite villain of all time.
He's so good.
He's just, he's iconic. He's
the chosen one.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, I had to put Anakin and Vader at number 4. Number 3, this may surprise you that it's actually lower, but I'm sure my next 2 will explain why. And that is Kylo Ren / Ben Solo. I never thought, even 2 or 3 years ago, he would be in my top 5. But Rise of Skywalker just made me appreciate that character so much more. Seeing his turn back to the light, and it made me appreciate even him when he's in the dark side. That crossguard lightsaber is so cool. His fighting style is great. Adam Driver kills it in that role.
It's so ferocious the way that he fights.
Yeah,
like it's a raw fighting. Yeah, style.
Vader has like a sustained and calculated evil, but when Kylo Ren is fighting, like. Even, like, if you observe, like his attacks in Battlefront 2, like, he's just swinging. And, like, there's a pattern to it, but it just feels so wild.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot of emotion in his fighting.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I just love him that he's just, like, he's that final Skywalker. Granted, there's the whole Rey Skywalker thing, but I feel like she's more of an adopted part of the Skywalker family. Rather than, Ben Solo. He was the last Skywalker.
Actually, come to think of it, that family line is now gone.
Yeah, it's dead.
Yep.
Why'd you kill him, guys? Why'd you kill him? Why did you kill my boy?
Yeah, Kylo is my favorite sequel trilogy character.
That's
and
another
the only thing.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing that I don't like about what they did is that they killed him off. Because we still missed yet again that opportunity to show a villain like the repercussions and what happened after they're redeemed.
Yeah,
because Vader gets redeemed and then he dies.
Yeah,
and then Kylo gets redeemed.
It's a cheap way out of answering that question.
Yeah, I think it actually when it first happened, I was like, I understand, like, it makes sense. He committed these atrocities, but I'm like, at the same time, like, compared to Vader, like, it makes sense that Vader would have died. First of all, he's already old and he was weakened and like near death. But like, I feel like Kylo could have easily lived on, and seeing him like, having to live in a world where it's like, okay, I really did some damage here and I have to regain my trust back. It would have been cool But it is what it is. But yeah, he is my favorite character in the films, no doubt. So yeah. And then the number 2, I'm not going to get too much into it just because it's such an obvious pick. Number 2 is Ahsoka Tano. Tied with number 1, really. But she leads the front line of the Clone Wars, as you know, from her perspective. She's such a great Jedi even when she's not a Jedi, and her appearances in Rebels and Clone Wars, and hopefully in Mandalorian Season 2, if those rumors are true. Yeah, I just love Ahsoka. And number
So
1...
is Dave Filoni's pride and joy.
Yeah, absolutely. And then number 1, Kanan Jarrus, or Caleb Doom, from Star Wars Rebels.
My man.
Yeah, I'm so, like, I'm a big Rebels shill. Like, I love Star Wars Rebels. And so Kanan was one of the main reasons why I really got into that show, because, like, I remember Dave Filoni and, like, this behind-the-scenes thing, he's like, yeah, Kanan's kind of like a cowboy Jedi, and I'm like, I like cowboys. So,
Howdy.
yeah, and he's kind of got this whole Ronin vibe with, like, the ponytail, and he reminded me a lot of one of my favorite Legends character. By the way, we're not including Legends characters in this, if you couldn't tell. That's an entirely different list.
Yeah, my top 5 would be Revan.
But yeah, Kanan has just this whole like Ronin gunslinger kind of vibe. But then he just he really grows as a character. And I own A New Dawn. I haven't finished reading it yet, which is the book by John Jackson Miller, which is set before Rebels, but he's an adult. I have the graphic novel, or the comic, I should say, which Cole and I have both read, and you get to see how he experiences Order 66 as a Jedi and stuff. He's just such a well-developed character, and one of the few characters that I'm going to try. I don't want to put a whole bunch of Rebels spoilers, because I know some people know about Rebels, but I think because Clone Wars Season 7 is now finished, people are going to gravitate more to Rebels, and I would highly recommend it, by the way, if you think that the story is over. It's certainly not, and Rebels really continues the story of Clone Wars. It is quite literally the sequel show to that, even if it wasn't intentionally planned. So, Kanan Jarrus, Caleb Doom, he's my boy. I love him. So yeah, that's our personal lists.
We got some beautiful lists going on, boys.
Yeah, and I think I just like seeing all of the variety and like what we appreciate in characters, and it just makes me appreciate Star Wars so much more, and I'm incredibly thankful for it. Man,
now the hard part.
Yeah,
begins.
This is going to be difficult. We may have to do some negotiating here.
This is where we fight.
Yeah, this is where the Comic Blast podcast breaks up, like the Beatles.
My first episode just immediately breaks up.
It's all because Cole wants Grievous.
Yeah,
top
okay,
5.
Yeah, okay. Listen, he's not. just a disclaimer. Grievous is not in my unbiased top 10 because, like, understandably so. I can get that no one in their right mind would put Grievous in their top 5, right? And Grayson, you know me, man. Yeah. You know I love the complexity of characters, but for whatever reason, I just see Grievous and like, yeah, right.
Like,
yeah.
if like he is your free space. Like, just like I just like this really cool character.
Yeah, dude, he's just sick. Like, he's not even complex. If you took him out on a date to a diner, you would ask him questions. You just go like, "I like to kill Jedi." Like, that's his every answer.
And he would just be coughing nonstop. Like, and then when
I've
the bill would come, he would run
Grievous
away
to a theater. Yeah, the bill would come by and he'd go like,
just crawl away. But you have to preface that, like, Grievous kind of sucks in canon. He's not great. He's really not.
Bro.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, we're not going to get into that. That's a whole different debate. Maybe one day we'll do something about Legends or something like that. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. I was about to get started
at talking about Grievous's fighting style and like how he sucks and how he doesn't suck, but we can't go into that. That would take way too long.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to try to get into this top 5 unbiased list. And what we did is we all created actually a top 10 list of our unbiased characters. And this was really hard for probably a lot of us because we just love Star Wars. And it's really hard to put one character over another. But we did the top 10 because it would allow us to maybe fluctuate a little bit. So, for example, if Cole has a character in top 4 and I have a character, or at number 4 and I have a character at number 7, maybe I'm like, okay, I'll raise that one up and maybe we can negotiate and put it at number 5. But I feel like our unbiased lists are going to be similar. I'm just trying to figure out, should we all list the top, like say our number 5 and then how should we do this?
Weren't we
I'd go through 10.
I thought we were doing top 10.
Okay, so you want us to say the top 10 and then
Yeah.
Top 10
We'll probably
unbiased.
Grayson, I think you're writing it down.
Yes, I have a list right now.
Okay.
Should I start?
Sure, we can go in reverse order if you want.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Go for it.
All right, so for my unbiased list, this is purely on character development, their appearances in live action, not live action, but just like, in more visual mediums.
The whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. And just their presence and really their like, is iconicity a word? I don't know, but I just made that up. Basically how iconic they are. Don't think about it.
Yeah, trademark it.
Yeah.
That was easier to say.
Iconicity. So yeah, number 10. I'm not going to get too much into the explanations until we start arguing about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'm just going to kind of go through a dump. Number 10, Yoda.
Iconicity is a word. Just checked it.
I'm so
God,
intelligent.
we've needed Cole this whole time.
He's our producer. He can fact check for us.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, number 10, Yoda. Number 9, Palpatine. Number 8, Han Solo. Number 7, Maul, formerly Darth. Number 6, Luke Skywalker. Number 5, Kylo Ren / Ben Swolo. Number 4, Leia Organa. Number 3, Ahsoka Tano. Number 2, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Number 1, Vader. How was this, Matt? First,
Where'd you have Luke at?
I have Luke at number 6.
Okay.
Yeah. That was
Oh, this is gonna be interesting.
okay. How far is this like matching up with your guys'? Like, were most of those in your top?
I think
10?
you have most of the ones that I have, just in different order.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that they're basically the same, just in different order.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Keenan, you go for it.
Okay. Are you ready? Because you're gonna be taking it down, right?
Well, you have it on your list right now. I have the 10 for like when we start arguing and what we can put at like a number 10, number 9, number 8. Okay. So
Okay.
just keep your
All right.
list for now.
Gotcha. 10, I actually have Ahsoka. 9, I have Maul. 8, I have Kylo / Ben. 7, I have Rey. I don't think you had Rey on your list. A little upsetting.
No.
Number 6, I have Han. Number 5, I have Obi-Wan. Number 4, Leia. Number 3, Sidious. Number 2, Luke Skywalker. Number 1, Anakin.
Okay. All right. Cool. We can work with this.
I hate it.
This is the worst. Cole, just go ahead and get into your 10.
All right. Number 10 is Darth Sidious.
Okay.
Number 9 is Darth Maul. Number 8 is Ahsoka Tano. Number 7, this might piss a couple people off, but I couldn't do one without the other, so I put them in the same number. I said R2-D2 and C-3PO. I put them in the same one.
Okay.
Because it's
That's
just
fine.
yeah. Number 6 is Yoda. Number 5 is Leia. Number 4 is Han Solo. Number 3 is Obi-Wan. Number 2 is Luke, and number 1 is Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader.
Okay, so we have our number 1. It's Anakin Vader. We all said that was our number 1. We can go ahead and put that down.
All right, we got number 1. It's done. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Then Vader is the best character in Star Wars. See you guys later. Shazam. No. Okay, so we'll put Vader as number 1. Okay, so we do a lot of our characters line up, except I think Cole. So we all had, I think, one character that was kind of a wild card for each of ours. I believe.
Yeah.
Keenan's was Rey, Cole's was R2-D2
Yeah.
and 3PO, and mine was
Max Rebo.
Yes, absolutely. I don't remember what mine was. I think mine was like my wild card was maybe Kylo.
Yeah, I didn't say Kylo.
I had Kylo in mind.
Okay, so Cole didn't say Kylo. I did.
I would have put Kylo in there, but I was going for like the most iconic characters, and while Kylo is iconic, the original trilogy cast like extremely stands out.
Yeah,
like just everyone's iconic basically.
Okay, so here's my counter argument to that. Let's just get into Kylo. We'll just kind of negotiate where he's at. My argument for Kylo is that first of all, he's the best character in the sequel trilogy, right? I think we can all agree on that. Sorry, Rey, you suck. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
No, Rey does not.
I don't say I agree on that, but I'll let you make your point.
Okay, I don't think Rey sucks at all, but I think if we're talking about what character, when I talk to people who love Star Wars, even if they hate the sequel trilogy, they're all like, I love Kylo Ren. I like Ben Solo. I thought he was a great character.
And there's so many people that stand Kylo.
Yeah, and I think that like, and this is not my biased opinion, but like when I talk to people, I'm like, they say that's in there, and I think he deserves his spot in on the top 10 at least because of how he more or less not carries the sequel trilogy, but like really boosts it up. He's just Adam Driver is just so enjoyable to watch, and I think like he just really brings a lot to Star Wars.
Okay, so we're just doing top 5 Comic Blast, right?
Yeah, we're gonna do top 5, but I have 10 down.
Do we need to make a top 10 for Comic Blast?
No, we don't.
Because
we don't
if we're just doing 5, I don't even think you had him in your top 5. He's on my list, but not in my top 5. And Cole doesn't even have him.
He's number 5.
What I thought we were
five.
doing was comparing our number 10 lists and then crunching them into 5.
That's essentially what we're doing, but like we're essentially allowing our arguments to kind of like fluctuate, like and
right.
So, so
I think you're gonna have to convince Cole more than anyone, because he doesn't even have him, right?
It's just like
I think first of all, I think R2D2 and 3PO, love them to death. They don't deserve to be in the top 10 because they don't have enough character development, and even though they are iconic. 3PO has good development. R2D2 is pretty static as a character, and I think if you're comparing it to the likenesses of these other characters, it's like they may not be as iconic, but their character development outweighs it. But
so what I was going off of, like I would agree that Kylo Ren has better character development for sure than R2D2 and C3PO. They basically have the same personalities throughout. Like, like they tease that 3PO would be different in Rise of Skywalker, but he was basically just the same. Let's be real. What I was thinking when I put them in that list was that I was going from the iconicity, because growing up, not as much C3PO, but I would see R2D2 literally everywhere.
Yeah.
R2 is like almost in every single like source of consumer products because he was such an icon and a staple in that.
yeah,
He's not typically complex as a character. He's just this sassy droid. But if someone were to remember either Kylo Ren or R2D2 from like the entire era of Star Wars, I feel like they would remember R2 more, because like everyone and their mom can see that. They're like, oh yeah, that's R2D2. It's like you just hear that all the time. You know what I mean?
yeah.
If I showed my mom a picture of R2D2 and Kylo Ren, she would never know who Kylo Ren is, and she would know who R2D2 is.
Okay.
But that kind of like is like it's part of that legacy of 40 plus years, and that's probably why so many people would kind of I mean, like, because you can make the argument that he's more well known, like the droids are more well known, but that doesn't make it the better character.
That's my
and that's kind of where Grayson's kind of going at with that.
I suppose we had different outlooks when we were planning out these lists.
Yeah,
because I was thinking of what Star Wars kind of means to everybody, and like kind of like this is an icon, like they're not even observing the character development, stuff like that. Because when we said unbiased, I just pictured the entire population and what they may think or remember.
So I should have maybe laid down the rules a bit better, but we'll work with it.
But either way, I don't
so
think
with that
either
being
of them
said
are in
though,
our top
could
five.
you with that being said though, like like let's say like with that kind of like rules being established, I guess, or whatever you'd call it, would you be able to? Do you think like now that you know that now, Cole, would you be able to put Kylo in your top 10?
Yeah, knowing that we're basing it off of like the actual character in their arc, I thought we were doing that for like the personal one, but yeah, R2D2 and C3PO are out if we're dealing with like actual character arcs.
Yeah.
I would put Kylo Ren in there because he has the best one in the sequel trilogy.
I hate to cut out like there's a bug flying in front of me. Go away. I hate to cut out R2 and 3PO, but I'm just like, just because it's like they look like the look of them doesn't mean like I think they're almost like a light side equivalent of like General Grievous, where it's like, even though Grievous is I don't think as iconic as 3PO or R2, where it's just like they're just like there to kind of help them, but they don't like if you're comparing I even put a number 11 and I put Captain Rex as number 11.
I wanted to put Rex in.
Yeah,
but,
and I'm like,
people don't remember him as much.
And see, that's a good point. I don't want to just like totally screw over your thing, but I just don't feel like they like R2 or 3PO really fit into the top 10. I don't know, Keenan. I need your assistance.
I mean, they would fit in a list of iconic, memorable characters, but Kylo Ren,
recognizable characters,
but
like that.
But Kylo Ren takes their slot for me if
Okay.
we're basing off of like the best Star Wars characters.
Okay.
So yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
So Kylo's my number 8. He's your number 5, Grayson.
Yeah. Where would you just maybe a ballpark, Cole, put that one? I can put it off to the side a little bit if we want to get a little bit more into that top 5 with some other characters that I think we kind of had some commonalities with.
Yeah, I'll put Kylo in my number 7.
Number 7, okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna.
So me and Cole have him about the same, and yours is a little bit higher,
Put
Grayson.
Kylo off to the side just for now because we have a lot more characters, and we'll see where he places. I think one character I think we all agree on that I think should be in the top 5, and I don't know if it was in everybody's top 5 unbiased, but I think Obi-Wan has to be put in there.
Yeah,
I have him at 5.
You have him at 5.
Obi-Wan is my number 3.
Okay, Obi-Wan was my number 2.
Okay.
So 3 honestly may be a good spot for Obi-Wan. I think
willing to work with
I
that.
think he's the number 1 Jedi, and since he's been there from the beginning, and basically he's been one of the most consistently well-built characters, and just like I mean, also not to like completely derail, but he also is iconic as well. Like, I mean, he's just one of the best, and everybody just like loves Obi-Wan. Like, I just don't know a person who just doesn't love Obi-Wan. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and his presence is in like different forms too.
Yeah.
From original trilogy, prequels, and then Clone Wars. It's such a huge character.
Yeah.
All across.
I agree. So where do you think in the top 5?
3
Obi-Wan?
is like a good.
I think Obi-Wan.
3 is a good like temporary spot until we can kind of.
Yeah,
work
I would
around
say
that.
3.
Obi-Wan.
He's my personal favorite.
Yes.
But out of the best, I feel like
he's not even in my personal favorites. But like, I just love his. Like, I just appreciate his character so much that like.
Right.
I just think he's like so recognizable with Star Wars. I'm just like trying to look at my list because we mostly had some of the same characters. And I'm trying to get this this top 5 out of the way first.
Yeah.
You want to?
Let's figure out a Luke Skywalker place.
I was about to say Luke or Leia are 2 characters I think we have to figure out where they belong in here.
Yep.
Personally, I put Luke in my number 2.
Okay.
Because like for the top 10 unbiased Star Wars characters, I feel like number 1 and number 2 should be like the hero and the villain in whatever order. I put Vader as number 1 and Luke as number 2.
Okay.
Same.
Because Luke is just iconic, and he's got he just is one of the best unbiased Star Wars characters.
Yeah.
He's my number 2 as well.
Yeah.
So I had Luke at number 6 because I think there's other characters that are better than Luke. And
But we can agree that he probably is going to be in the top 5.
probably, I would say,
roughly.
I think number 4 or 5, but that may be a little too low for you guys.
What is your number 2?
My number 2 is Obi-Wan. So I brought that down a little bit.
Okay.
So I can read it again. Number 1 was Vader. We don't have to worry about that one. Number 2 was Obi-Wan. Number 3 was Ahsoka, which Keenan had very low, and I think you had kind of middle tier with Ahsoka. We'll get to her later. I had number 4 Leia because I think Leia is a better character than Luke.
I have her at 4 too.
Okay.
Leia's at number 5 for me.
Okay.
Ooh, that's
all pretty close with Leia.
Yeah.
It's in the top 5.
Yeah.
So, I think Leia should go right underneath Obi-Wan. Do we think Obi-Wan's better or Leia's better?
Ooh.
It's hard.
Are you saying, do we think Luke or Leia are better out of the twins?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think? Well, first of all, yeah, I'm thinking because originally I'll say when I was making this list because I actually had a friend from work kind of helping me negotiate this unbiased list, so he has a little bit of a presence on here. But I was asking him, I was like, I originally had Luke at number 4, and I was like, but I can't in my right mind like feel like I can't put Leia at number 6. Like I think Leia deserves to be in the top 5 because she's like so iconic to Star Wars. I mean, and just like being and not iconic but like just her character, she's iconic, her character's built up well, and she's like one of the greatest heroines in cinema and in storytelling.
I definitely agree that she should be in the top 5, but I do put Luke over her just one spot.
Okay.
Because I believe that his character is a bit more complex than hers is.
Okay.
When we see her for the first time in A New Hope, her character is basically solidified. She's a great character, but basically her specific arc is nearing its end.
Yeah.
Like in terms of development, like she stays a good character throughout. Yeah. Whereas Luke has a lot to learn from A New Hope, and he makes a lot of mistakes. And so I think since we get to watch that, I do put him above her in that situation.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Luke goes in a lot of different areas throughout the entire saga.
Yeah.
You know, he went from the whiny kid who was kind of like focused on himself to wanting to go on this journey. And then, you know, his journey to helping redeem his father, who has done all these awful things. And then he goes to being essentially, you know, the sole Jedi in the galaxy for a while. Starts up the new Jedi Order, fails at that.
Yeah.
You know, there's just there's a lot there where I agree with Cole, where Leia's kind of like on this kind of like good track, but it's kind of like, you know, on this one one track.
She's solid. Luke from the beginning had a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And I just enjoyed watching that progress more than, you know, a character that is already good, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's about all I can say on that subject.
So I think the question remains here: is Luke better than Obi-Wan or worse than Obi-Wan? Like, do you think he goes above Obi-Wan or beneath him?
Just a little bit above him for me.
Okay.
But that's just me.
What about you, Cole?
Unbiased. Okay, so personally biased, I like Obi-Wan more.
Yeah.
But unbiased, I think if we got the collective opinion from the masses, they would say, you know, objectively, Luke is a better character than Obi-Wan. Because
he's the central,
you know, a lot of people. Luke is like he's basically the epicenter of the original trilogy. You know, like we follow it through his eyes. You know, so in the unbiased list, I would put him above. Actually, I did put him above Obi-Wan, so he's my number 2.
So I'm willing. You guys have convinced me. I'm willing to definitely move Luke up a lot higher. He was my number 6. Right now, as a placeholder, we have Obi-Wan at number 3. So Keenan would, if I put Luke at number 2, would we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine with
So
that.
I'm gonna put Luke definitively at number 2. So now should we put Leia? I think Leia still deserves to be in the top 5. the way you guys have described it, I would say she fits maybe at number 5.
That's where I have her right now.
Yeah.
I have her at 4, but 5 is fine with me too.
So I had her at 4, and so we can either put her at 4 or 5. It just depends on who this enigmatic fifth character is going to be. Yeah, because I think there's a lot of contenders for this 5th character.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide between 4 and 5 for Leia right now. She's contending with my number 4 spot.
So I'm gonna go ahead and put Obi-Wan definitively at number 3. I think that's a given. So we've got Vader at number 1, number 2 Luke, number 3 Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I think we have to have something to argue against on whether Leia would take number 4, number 5. So I need some reminders of your characters in top 5 that like you guys thought fit in there, because
my number 4 is Han Solo and my number 5 is Leia.
Okay.
The more I think about it, I just have a hard time getting Han Solo in the top 5.
I do as well. I love Han.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Jeez, man, that's hard.
What other characters do you guys have in the top 5? Which ones do you have?
I'll go ahead and say like my 3, which is like it's so different from you guys, but I had Sidious at number 3, and you guys I think had him like near the end of your list.
I had him at 9. I'd be willing to raise him up, but I don't think he's top 5.
I think we can just take him out of mine, because I just gonna accept defeat on that one.
He's
even though like he is the villain from each trilogy. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I was kind of like going at with that, but
I could definitely put Palpatine at a solid like 6 or 7 maybe, but like I don't think I can put Han or Palpatine in the top 5. Like I say my top 5, it's in the official top 5.
Yeah.
I feel like I have number 3 for Ahsoka, and I know Ahsoka was a lot lower than yours, but I feel like Ahsoka has defined Star Wars over the past 12
I think
years.
she can get there with like this Mandalorian appearance.
You think?
Yeah, Ahsoka's in just about everything these days. Like, she is just really, really good. I didn't put her in my top 5 specifically just because of the iconicity. But I think objectively I would say she's a better character than Han. Maybe, but it feels difficult to say that.
I just feel like I talked to a lot of Star Wars fans, and I just know like many of them know who Ahsoka is, and even some people who are kind of more casual Star Wars fans. But like, I just think she's so central now to the way Star Wars is now.
Yeah, she really has become like the current, like aside from the sequel trilogy, she is becoming like the current perspective for Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
She is who we're following at this moment.
This is gonna.
I kind of want to agree with you guys. Like I had her at number 10 for me, which means she barely got in. I actually was like kind of like playing around with Padme for a while in my list, but
I feel bad for Padme.
She didn't make
but
it.
I just don't think Padme outweighs Ahsoka or.
I'm thinking
Leia.
of the entire trilogy and like everything else. Ahsoka, like you guys probably like if you're gonna convince me to move her up, it's probably gonna be right now because I have like a little bit of recency bias with literally just finishing Clone Wars season 7, and I thought that end of that series and arc was some of the most like emotional bits of storytelling from Star Wars.
Yeah.
It was hard to believe it was an animated show. It felt very cinematic, and I like that it kind of had like a little bit of a conclusive arc to the show and her character, but we also see her, later on down the line.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Then
I'm thinking of like characters like Maul, and I'm thinking of like I'd probably rather see Kylo Ren in my top 5 than Ahsoka. I don't know.
I mean, if you're gonna I'll reason with you there. That's like I would love for Kylo to be in my top 5. Like ideally, like with the list that we have right now, we have Vader number 1, 2 number Luke, 3 Obi-Wan. I'd love to see like Leia number 4 and Kylo number 5. But then when I see that, I'm like, I just feel so guilty because I feel like Ahsoka deserves to be in the top 5. I just feel like she's grown so much. I don't know.
Right now, I would be willing to put Ahsoka into my number 4.
The reason I put number 5 is because I think Leia is better than Ahsoka. Not better than Ahsoka, but like because of her development and like how long she's been around. I'd say Leia is at number 4 and Ahsoka's number 5. Also because Keenan is like you said, he is a bit someone who didn't grow up on Clone Wars, you know.
Right.
I don't know. But
he does feel very connected towards Ahsoka right now, though.
Yeah.
So like
that's where like you guys are gonna get me, is I have that recency bias with just coming off of Clone Wars, because like before watching that, I made this list before I finished Clone Wars. I finished it like literally this morning.
Yeah.
And before that, I'd be like, "There's no way she can be in my top 5." Now I'm kind of like, I'm like, you probably
you also
can
haven't watched
convince me.
Rebels, have you?
I've watched all the way up into the last few episodes of season 4.
Okay.
So you
which are
basically got
apparently
the
the most
Ahsoka
important
stuff.
ones to watch. So.
Yeah, especially for season 4. Yeah.
I can probably do Ahsoka in the top 5, but I have to have Leia above Ahsoka.
I agree.
Okay. Well, I'd be willing to make Leia number 4 and Ahsoka number 5.
Is that what's settled? I'm.
It just it feels so weird though, because I'm like, I'm also looking at Han Solo and I'm like,
I just don't think Han's better than either of those two. I love Han. I love him.
I have a lot to say about Han, but I know that I won't be able to convince you guys to get him on there, and that's okay.
you might be able to, because I'm thinking of like how I felt emotionally, because I'm not an emotional person, but there's certain things that happen in Star Wars that like can make me emotional, and I'm thinking of The Rise of Skywalker and him and Kylo Ren, and I'm just like, God, I'm like, that really impacted me, like seeing that character again.
Okay, so
really
I can go on a quick rant
we're
about
on a
Han.
4-way stalemate right now on where to put Leia, Ahsoka, Kylo, and Han. That's going to be the trickiest part of this middle part of this list, and we really have to figure that out. So go on your little thing. I'm open ears right now.
So
Yeah.
So watching all of the movies that relate with Han, even considering Solo, because I think Solo is a crucial part when you consider Han as a character.
That. Yeah.
I was definitely including that for sure.
Yeah, it's when you take a look at him in A New Hope, he's just your basic scoundrel smuggler. Like he's this snarky guy and doesn't believe in the Force. He's like, hug your religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster or your sidekick.
Yeah.
That just kind of establishes that part of Star Wars. Han is basically our introduction to that because he's in the cantina scene.
He's the skeptic.
Yeah, we get that part of Star Wars, like the no Force aspect of Star Wars. And I just think, like Han and Chewie, and I mean, I didn't put Chewie in my top 10. I still love Chewie, but I don't know if he's as complex. But anyway, Han as a character is just so good to me because I love the way that he develops, because he turns into, the guy that doesn't believe that any of it's true. And like Luke says, you don't believe in the Force, do you? But in The Force Awakens, he's like, it's true. All of it, the Force, a Jedi, stuff like that. And to finally see him become that kind of person is just such good development for me. And I loved watching his character arc in Solo, which is after Kira left him behind, and he's just, all he does is look at that, like, space yacht, whatever you want to call it, flying away with this look of disappointment, but the urge to move on and move forward on his face. And he doesn't want to join the rebellion or anything like that, but he knows deep down inside that he is a good person, and eventually he forces himself to go through with it. When in reality, like in A New Hope, he just wanted it for the money and stuff like that. And even in the comics in episode 5, he keeps on bouncing back and forth between doing what he wants and doing like what is right, you know, and just that kind of character confliction. I don't know why, but that's why I really wanted Han in my top 5.
It's really interesting. Another thing to make the case for him. I'm sorry, Grayson, but
you're good. I'm
you bring back
getting
episode
pissed.
4. Yeah, you bring back episode 4 and how he's like total non-believer. He ends up kind of going on this journey, like even after seeing things he's seen, he's just still a skeptic, not really for the cause. And then how he goes from, if you look at episode 4, and then he goes to that scene in the Millennium Falcon in episode 7 where he's just like a total believer, and think about what it took for him to become that way.
Yeah.
He ended up being with Princess Leia, whose brother was a Jedi. She was also Force sensitive. And then his son turned out to be the most evil person in the galaxy. It's just like...
And the fact that...
It's crazy.
When you take a look at Han from episode 4 in Solo, if that Han was talking to Adam, or not Adam, talking to Ben Solo then, before he died, he would not act that way. Like, the kind, fatherly way that he did. You know, Kylo stabs him, and all Han does is just, like, try to put his hand on Ben's face before he dies. Like, he knows he's gonna die, and all he can do is just feel this sense of sadness but care for his son. And to watch that Han, and then the Han that we first see, it's just the kind of development is something that I appreciate so much, which is now I want Han on my top 5 list. Now I want to put him...
Okay. You have convinced me entirely.
Perfect.
Leia at number 4, Han at number 5.
I agree.
We good? You know what?
It's crazy, but we literally picked the 5 most iconic characters in Star Wars.
I mean, hey,
5.
that's the whole point. So
Yeah.
So Leia number 4, Han number 5. I'm happy with that number 5.
And then it just gets capped off with the Rise of Skywalker and Ben, like that scene.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh,
It's just
for
kinda like-
sure.
So wait,
Absolutely.
Perfect conclusion.
question: are we continuing to go for these bottom 10? I think these will be a little bit easier, or are we gonna just cap it at 5?
My personal opinion, I think we should cap it at 5, because I don't know
Okay.
how long we would spend on the rest of the list.
I really want to keep going and get these top 10 in here. I don't know. It's up to you guys, though.
If we could do it within the next 10 minutes, because we're getting at an hour 20 minutes right now.
Okay, I'm gonna like speed round these bottom 5.
Okay, so these are the non-official. We'll just say that, like, they're
We're not gonna have as much time to argue on this, which is
exactly. Because dude, like 10 minutes ago, none of us really were thinking about putting Han in our 5. Other maybe Cole.
yeah, Cole.
But I even said on the podcast, you can find it somewhere else. Like, I can't get Han in my top 5,
Yeah.
and now I'm like, he has to be in the top 5.
Yeah, for me, I was the same way. Han
So
was my
these
number
arguments
8,
are
and
important.
now he's my number 5.
Yeah.
So good job, Cole. This is why we need you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Get that third opinion in there.
Here's the thing that I need. Like, I really just need to figure out where these guys go, and that's Ahsoka and Kylo.
I'm fine with Ahsoka at 6.
I think
if we can all agree on
Ahsoka
that.
6 and Kylo 7.
I will put Ahsoka at 6.
We all okay.
I think Kylo can go to 7 because Cole already said he can move him to 7. I had him at
Yeah.
8, and
Okay.
you obviously want him higher, Grayson.
Yeah, I wanted them to. I'm fine with the 7 because compared to that top 5, I think that's really good.
I'll put Kylo at 7 as long as we agree to put Yoda at number 8.
Yes, I agree.
I gotta go with Yoda at number 8.
Ooh, okay.
Oh boy. Who's your number 8?
So, okay, so first of all, I should say that I had Rey above Kylo, but I'm compromising there.
Okay.
But I can also understand maybe a little bit of my personal bias snuck into that. But I'm like, she's like this new legacy of the Skywalkers. It's hard for me to not even see her in the top 10. I don't think either of you guys had her in the top 10. That's kind of like
Rey is not
tough.
making it to top 10. I'm sorry. It's just if you're comparing for me, I see the last 3 characters I want to see on the top 10.
Because I'm thinking also like Kylo and Rey kind of go hand in hand, like they're
The
the
dyad,
dyad and the Force.
Don't
Yeah.
And
pull that on
there's
me.
the whole argument that maybe Ben doesn't exist without Rey.
Rey.
There's just something there. Like, there's something there. There's an argument to be made that I'm not able to make right now, and it's bothering me.
Rey is an honorable
Can't think of
mention
it.
for me.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know. I can't find myself.
I'd
being
also
able to
have
put her
Maul
in there.
above Yoda, by the way. That's just my opinion. But
So here's what I was going to argue. So,
Might be willing to compromise for that one.
so I was going to say Yoda at number 8. Undoubtedly, I think he's just such a great character, and another one that's a really great Jedi, even though I don't think he's the best of the Jedi. Also, just to preface this, I don't know why my Discord is an entirely black screen, so I cannot see you guys right now. I can
You're
see,
frozen for
on
me.
mine.
I can see everything else right now, so I'm not really sure what's going on, but I digress. But I think Yoda has to be at number 8, and then I think Palpatine has to be at number 9, because Palpatine, like you said, is the villain of all 3 trilogies, despite if people like that or not. And he just, like, orchestrated the entire events of the saga.
I would be willing. I'd be willing to compromise for that.
how can we not get Rey in this top 10? That's bothering me.
Okay, but
I just.
okay,
I
so
just-
I'm willing.
I'm thinking the daughter of Palpatine, the one who freaking lived on a desert planet by herself, raised herself, did not know that she had any like connection to the Force.
See, okay,
Ends up going on this journey where she was just always by herself. And then I don't know, like
I've got the last ones I have are Yoda, Palpatine, and Maul.
those are
And I'm
those are the last 3 I have left as well.
What about you, Keenan? What are the last two that you have?
Rey, Maul, and Sidious.
Okay, so
Are
the
no particular order, but those are like the 3 that I.
You cannot say, though, that Rey is a
left.
better character than Yoda or Sidious. There's no way.
that's so difficult for me.
Oh, I don't think Rey is better than Sidious because I had Sidious all the way at my number 3.
Okay. So,
Grayson
I don't know. I don't want to take up this whole time. I just like
No, we
it's
gotta get
hard to
these last
believe that
3.
we're gonna live in a world where Rey was the central character of an entire trilogy, the daughter of Sidious, ends up taking on the Skywalker name,
the problem is just
and doesn't even make it into the top 10.
Rey is really problematic with a lot of Star Wars fans. And that's why I can't, in my right mind, put her in the top 10. I could put her at a honorable number 11, but I can...
We do have to remember.
We do what?
We lost Cole.
Crap. Oh, my screen's not black anymore.
There he is.
He was the problem this entire time.
Oh,
I don't know what happened. Technical difficulties here on the Comic Blast
I'm back.
podcast.
So
Okay.
we
just
need to
because
consider
I am like-
this.
you guys there? Hello? Hello?
Remember that we are establishing a top 10 unbiased list. And we need to see if everyone would put Rey in their top 10. I would be willing to wait, is Grayson still here?
I think he's gone. He's frozen right now.
Yeah, he's
We're having technical difficulties on the podcast. Okay.
So if that may have sounded weird, we actually just had some technical difficulties while negotiating that bottom 5. So if it sounds a little weird, we apologize for that. We're going to try to get back into this. We should be good to go now. So while I was gone trying to figure out everything, they were negotiating that Rey should be in the top 10. I'm still not budging on this. I love Rey, but if you're comparing her to Yoda, Palpatine, and Maul is a character who, I mean, if we're talking just the movies, then Rey undoubtedly beats Maul. But the fact that Maul has probably, I would say, the greatest development of the second greatest development of any character in the Clone Wars and in Rebels, and just in that external medium, they made that character from just like pretty much cannon fodder of like, oh, he looks cool and then dies, to being one of the best villains and someone who's like, he is a dark side user that's not even part of the Sith, and he's building up this criminal empire from the Crimson Dawn, and just his moments in Clone Wars just shine above all the rest. And man, his duel with Obi-Wan in the desert, like he comes so far as a character. And when I was watching Clone Wars, like Maul was the reason I wanted to do this list with you guys, because I was like, I think Maul could honestly have a place in the top 5 characters of all of Star Wars. maybe in development-wise, this is a bit different, obviously, because we are factoring in a little bit of the iconicity, which is a word, apparently. So I don't think Maul is in the top 5, but I think he has, like, people know who Darth Maul is, man. Like, he was in, people get tattoos on his face and everything. Like, I don't know.
All right. I'm Keenan, I'm so sorry.
Rey is the Luke Skywalker of this generation.
But Luke Skywalker is so much better,
Luke
and
Skywalker.
I just think
this generation, but the kids that are growing up now.
But out of all of Star Wars, Rey does not make it in the top 10, man. She just doesn't.
How does the daughter of Darth Sidious not make it into the top 10?
She wasn't the daughter of Darth Sidious until they decided to write it in.
It's canon.
It's canon now.
You can look at
sure, but like
Darth Maul was dead until they decided he wasn't.
Yeah, but but this was before Disney acquired it, and the sequel trilogy is like. What am I going to
Oh, so you're a Disney hater?
Yeah,
okay.
I clearly hate Disney.
You hate Kathleen Kennedy. It's okay.
Oh my god.
Oh no, don't post that to
Force
Twitter.
is not female for Grayson.
Oh my god, man. All right, okay. Can we at least just say that Yoda and Palpatine are 8 and 9?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I can at
so
least
now
argue that, but now it's just
you're
the battle
just
of
on
Maul
number
and
10.
Rey. You know what? Maul would destroy Rey. Rey sucks.
Who cares? She has a double-bladed lightsaber now.
No, she doesn't.
She might.
She doesn't. It's in Battlefront 2.
She should.
She has the only orange lightsaber in all of
It's
Star
yellow.
Wars on screen. Yellow, whatever.
Dude, this kid Keenan's a fake Star Wars fan. I'm just kidding. This is the most heated I've ever gotten in a podcast episode about whether Maul or Rey is a better character.
This is quality content right here.
Yeah,
though.
this really is.
This is what the people want to hear.
Oh man, controversy.
I really wanted to put Rey in there, but after Grayson said what he said, it just kind of outlined everything of why I wanted Maul to be in my top 10. I'm so sorry, Keenan.
That's fine. It's fine. No, don't worry about it.
So everyone who's
I'll make
listening,
my own top 10.
Everyone who's listening, Keenan just looks so incredibly disappointed.
I just can't I just can't fathom that. Like, I don't care like where she is. It's so hard for me to believe that the daughter of Darth Sidious, and essentially she is the new she's the new Luke Skywalker. She's starting the Jedi over from scratch. Essentially, she's the lone one right now.
So
she's this generation's Luke Skywalker. And I also think she does have a good character arc, believe it or not.
No, I totally agree with you on all of that.
The connection with Ben Solo.
Oh no, I mean I love Rey.
Yeah, me and Cole have both like progressively said recently that like I actually really appreciate Rey, and I defend Rey. Like Daisy Ridley is my celebrity crush. Like I freaking love Rey, but like if I'm like I would put Rey at number 11, but I cannot put her at number 10 if we're talking about all of the like just the comprehensive like complexities of Star Wars characters, like and factoring in like the popularity of characters. Like Maul is just a staple of where Star Wars, like how far Star Wars has come, you know?
So you know what? I'm going to attempt to be the negotiator, because I feel like this is one of the reasons why we needed a third member for Comic Blast, alright?
Yeah.
So since this entire thing is based around a list made by Comic Blast of the top 10, or the top 10 unbiased, and Comic Blast can't decide as a whole, we can make 1 through 9 all of the characters that we decided on, but then number 10 is a draw between Rey Skywalker and Darth Maul. Because there's no other way that we can get out of this without someone being disappointed.
It sucks. Like, here's what's gonna happen. Maul's gonna be our number 10 on the official list, just because both of you guys have him at number 10. I have Rey at number 10, but at the same time, you guys kind of agreed that Rey would be 11. So you guys beat me 2-1. That's just what is fair.
Okay, I'm willing to buff because I genuinely like I want to put Rey at number 10 because I agree with all of your points. It's just like. Okay, let's.
I think obviously, like Darth Maul, he was actually in my 10. The only reason I don't have him in my 10 right now is because I'm letting you guys have Yoda, because he wasn't even in my top 10.
Really? Wait, he wasn't? I swear he was.
No, he wasn't in my top 10, but I let you guys have Yoda, just so I can try to negotiate Rey into this conversation. But yeah, I'm thinking, like, looking back at it, I know Disney Star Wars gets a lot of hate. I'm thinking about the future generations of Star Wars fans, young kids growing up, young girls growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, I go to Galaxy's Edge and I see, 5-year-old girls dressed as Rey and getting to see Rey at Galaxy's Edge. Yeah. And how much that means to them and seeing their faces light up. And I'm trying to bring kids into the conversation just to win you guys over. But
for the children.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the future too. We got to think about the kids, guys. So
I mean,
I'm
respectfully,
thinking about like Luke Skywalker. He's my number one because of what he meant to me as a kid growing up. And I think Darth Maul is a great character, but believe it or not many kids are going around looking up to Darth Maul, saying, "I want to be that." Who is that for this generation? It's probably Rey.
Yeah. Okay. Cole, what do you think?
I just dropped my mic.
I'll put Rey at number 10.
I secede. Rey will be at number 10.
Rey will be at number 10. Rip.
So there you have it. Our Comic Blast top 10 unbiased best Star Wars characters turned completely biased. I knew we wouldn't be able to do it. I can't make an unbiased Star Wars character list.
But no, like, he has a point, like, unbiasedly. Like, I just... There's a lot of factors into it, right?
Unbiased.
It's so close too.
When I consider what Star Wars meant to me as a kid, and I take a look at what Rey has done to the newer generation of Star Wars fans, at this point, I can't not see her in the top 10.
Yeah.
So I agree with Keenan on that.
Okay, so we have the list. I will read it out from the bottom. So, honorable mention is our dearly beloved Maul. May he rest in peace and in halves.
Hey, just to be fair, I had him at my number 8 in my list.
Yes, you did. No,
just behind Rey.
No, I know.
Maul was actually my number 9.
Where was my Maul at? My Maul. Not my Maul. He was number 7 for me.
So for the record,
really close for all of us.
So for the record, Maul, Sam Witwer, if you ever see this, we love you. But we just there were a lot of factors that went into it. For the record, I liked your performance of Maul better than Daisy's of Rey, but I'm not going to say anything about that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's fair.
It's fair.
All right. So number 10,
it's fantastic.
The highly debated but now settled Rey Skywalker at number 10. Number 9, Emperor Palpatine / Darth Sidious. Number 8, Yoda. Number 7, Kylo Ren / Ben Solo. Number 6, Ahsoka Tano. Number 5, Han Solo, which is still probably really surprising that I somehow managed to put him in my top 5, but top 5. But that was a good debate. Number 4, Leia Organa. Number 3, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Number 2, Luke Skywalker, and number 1, Darth Vader, aka Anakin Skywalker.
We didn't even have to talk about number 1. We were just like, oh yeah, there it is.
That was the easiest one. We all had him at number 1, and that was the easiest to settle. But number 10 was the hardest to settle. So.
Oh my god, and I can't believe we spent what's the time on this now?
About an hour and a half, give or take the technical difficulties.
Yeah. We spent that long, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you shouldn't watch Star Wars.
In fact,
I think it goes to show how important it is to us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
That we can spend an hour and a half discussing 10 characters.
Yep.
It's incredible.
Yep.
And keep in mind, this list of mine changes all the time. So
yeah,
it's always changing.
Yeah.
An hour ago, Cole had C-3PO and R2,
and now they're dead.
Yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned for the next episode where we rank every Star Wars movie, and every
Star
Clone
Wars
Wars
droid.
episode.
Oh my god, that would be horrible. But yeah, we did it. I'm surprised. Which it was a painstaking battle,
Yeah.
but here we go. So yeah, with that being said, I actually already recorded an outro back when I thought that this thing was going to glitch out, but I'll redo it again, and hopefully this isn't an absolute pain for Keenan to edit. God bless him. Please follow us at comicblast_ on our social media, which is Twitter and Instagram, not Facebook, like we said. You can find all of our personal social medias on there. I won't have to rehash those just because for the sake of time. Patreon, which is patreon.com/comicblast. And